Hi everyone, it's Danny and welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with another 12 by 12 layout for the Confessions of a Paper Addict design team, and today I'm going to be using this gorgeous leafy wreath cut file. As you can see, I've cut it in a few pieces. I do have a silhouette portrait which only does 8 by 12, so I have had to cut down the cut file to cut it at the right size. So I've basically just had to chop it into pieces, but if you have a silhouette cameo you won't have to do that, obviously. But this is a good way to get full-size cut files out of your portrait if that's all you have. So just a tip. So you can see there I've cut quite a few. I think I ended up cutting about 3.5 of these wreaths in total. And the first one you can see here is on one of the Pink Fresh Just a Little Lovely papers. I'm using this whole collection actually for this layout. So I cut out one of those beautiful soft watercolor background pages, and you just can't really see the pattern. Yeah, it just ended up being really pale, and yeah, once I'd cut it out of that beautiful 12 by 12 paper, the pattern just disappeared. So I am using some of my own mixed media, as you can see. So I sped this up quite a bit because it's pretty boring to watch. But what I'm going to do is, for this first wreath, this is going to be the bottom layer of my wreath. So make a bit more sense in a bit when you see the whole thing come together. But I want this to be the darkest of the three, so I am using the they're not super bright or bold, but they're the brightest and boldest colors I'm going to use. So I'm using a mix of blues and aquas and purples and pinks there, all really pretty colors that are already in the collection. And then this is my second wreath, and it's probably, yeah, it's more than a full wreath. You can see I've got a few extra bits there. And this one I'm using the same sort of colors, but I am just going a little bit lighter and softer with them. And this is my final wreath layer. This is just a plain white cardstock wreath, and I'm going to back this one. I'm going to back all the little leaves and flowers. So yeah, it was pretty easy really to back this because they're only those little bits that need backing. So keep watching here if you want to see something funny. Yep, there's me being impatient with my glue. I squeezed it and the lid, yeah. I didn't want to get my pin and unblock it, so I just squeezed it too hard and it exploded everywhere. So yeah, that'll teach me. So here you can see I'm using my most used technique to back my cut file. I'm just cutting out my bits of paper to roughly the right size, putting a bit of glue around the outside edge of my cut file and plonking it on top of the paper. And then I will go in with my fussy cutting scissors and trim off the excess. You didn't see that on camera because it's boring to watch. You've seen it 1,000 times, but that's what I did for this. So pretty simple. That's all backed. It's beautiful. And you can see I'm going to use that background paper. The pink is just super pretty and the wreath really pops on it. So I, of course, am doing splatters first. I'm using my white Liquitex acrylic ink. I love this stuff. I haven't had it long, but I'm using it a lot. Thanks to Virginia Walker for the recommendation on these inks. They're amazing. I have quite a few colors now. I just love them. So I'm going to add a few more splatters here. I really want some more of this purple color. Yeah, just at the top and the bottom. I'm running at a bit of a diagonal, you can see there. In my photo, my daughter is looking down and to the right, so I'm going to put it at the top left, so she's looking down across the page. And I kind of want the flow of the page to be in that direction. So now some gold mist. This is just the Kaiser mist in gold in the same places. And now I'm going to think about starting to lay out my wreath up. So this is my darkest layer, and you can see it's in pieces, but once I glue it down, you can't tell at all that it's in pieces. You really can't. So you can see I am just running a bead of glue all along the center. The center of the wreath there, so sort of just right along the center there. Yep, I'm not gluing down any of the outside leaves. I want this to be really fluffy and dimensional, and it is so ruffly and textury by the time I'm finished. It's amazing. I can safely say this is one of my very favorite layouts I've ever made in my life. So here we go with the next layer of the wreath, and I have sped this up really fast because you don't want to watch me glue this all down at slow speed. It's very boring. So I'm just layering that, as you can see, over the top, but I am sort of moving it in further towards the center slightly, so they're not straight one on top of the other. I want them to have quite a bit of dimension, and I want to be able to see that bottom layer of the wreath peeking out all around the edge there. Yeah, love this so much. And I'll do the same thing with the final layer. Ah, just look at that. Looks so good. I'm so happy with it. Okay, so I'm going ahead now with my photo. I'm just going to trim a little bit off the edges. I just really want to focus in on her beautiful little face. Such a darling. Okay, layering up my photo now. A bit of white tissue paper is pretty standard for me. I use this a lot. And I'm just going to do a double layer and trim off the excess. And you'll see me switching back between my ATG and my double-sided tape. It just depends. I find the ATG doesn't like the tissue paper, so I tend to use the tape on that. So I pulled it out the 6x6 paper pad. I am going to use this green as my first layer, or my second if you count the tissue paper. I really love that green. I used a bit of this sort of minty green in the wreath, but there's not a lot of it on the page yet, so I thought it would be nice to bring some more of that in. I love that little floral. I try a few others, but I come back to that one. Yeah, thinking about it, no, but I really like that one the best, so back I go. And just a thin layer of that, and that will be it for my photo matting. So I'm going to pop up the bottom of the photo on a bit of foam here. The top, I don't need to pop up on foam because it's going to, you can see, overlap over the top of that wreath, so it's already going to be lifted up off the page a little bit. So now I have these extra bits that I'm playing around with. I thought about putting them on the side of the photo there, but I end up tucking them into the inside of the wreath at the top and the bottom, just like that, and gluing them down. Now I could have laid all my wreathy bits together and glued them all together at the end rather than as I went, but yeah, they would have moved around and driven me crazy, so I just decided to commit and glue them down. It's a wreath. There's not many other places it can go on the page, so I was happy to glue them. And starting on my title now, I have the title puffy stickers. I love these so much. They're so gorgeous, but I find they're really hard to peel off the backing paper. They're really stuck on there, so yeah, I love that sweet. I thought about using the moments, but you really couldn't see it over all that texture, so I'm just going to use the tiny little puffy alphas and spell out sweet moments, and that will be my title. So yep, some more of these puffy stickers. So they're off the title sheet, but there's lots of florals on there as well, and little leaves and bits and pieces. So I'm going to use some of these larger floral clusters to fill in some of my wreath. Bit at the bottom there, and then one at the top of my photo to give me that visual triangle, and just to frame my photo nicely. Another leaf up the top there. I love these puffy stickers so much. Oh, I'm going to be devastated when I run out. Little puffy pink flower at the bottom there. And I'm going to pull out the actual puffy sticker sheet, but I only use this one. So it says this makes me so happy or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Okay, now this is my little bag of homemade embellishments that I made to go along with this kit. There is a video on those coming, so yeah, you'll see how I made all these. But these are just little fussy cut flowers off one of the 12x12 pattern papers. I love that paper. I have spent ages fussy cutting all those little florals. So there's some of the slightly larger purple ones and tiny little pink ones. And I'm just taking these and tucking them wherever there's a bit of a gap in my wreath. So you can see I'm not thinking about it. I haven't planned any of this out. I'm just putting some glue on and sticking them down where they look right. Trying not to overthink too much. I put that one in and I saw my photo move a bit and I thought, oh, whoops, I haven't glued that down yet. So I thought I'd better do that. Oh gosh, I love these little florals. They're just so, I could have a million of them and I would continue to use them. I never get tired of them. Just tucking those in. Could that have been any louder? I apologise if you could hear that motorbike going past my house. So, like I said, just tucking in all these little florals all the way around my photo and around my wreath. Go. And now I'm taking some of my little homemade epoxy hearts, and I am going to put a couple down. I'll put a large and a small one on either side of my wreath following that diagonal, just to emphasize that diagonal flow a bit more. There we go, lovely. And now Nouveau drops. I can't remember the names of these, I do apologise. This one's something raspberry, which, yeah, that really bothers me because I was expecting it to be pink, but it's definitely purple. So, go figure. But anyway, I am doing some of those and I'm flicking the paper just to make them settle into a more flat shape. And then I have some little aqua ones. And at the moment, I'm doing a cluster at the top and the bottom there, and I will come in a minute and do one around my title as well. But for now, I'm just doing these, and this is a little gold color Nuvo drop. And these are all crystal drops. So again, just a cluster of 3 in each place, and then just in there. There we go. Okay, now that ruler, in case you're wondering, that is a dressmaker's ruler. So this is what I use when, because I don't have a T-square, but it's see-through and it has those lines on it, so you can really use it to line up. And you won't be able to see this very well because it's a silver pencil, but that's why I'm using it, so I can erase it later, and yeah, it's not going to leave marks all over my page. But I'm just drawing some lines and then writing out my, I want to say quote, but I don't know that it's the correct quote. I was using it from memory and I've sort of swapped out a few words, but it says the value of our lives can be measured not in years but in these sweet moments. So the title finishes off the quote. I use my white Uniball Signo broad gel pen to go over the pencil, and I erase my lines off camera. And yeah, that's it. That's finished. It's all done. I love it. I'm in love with it. Here are the close-ups. I really hope you enjoyed joining me today. Don't forget to go check out the Cutfiles shop. There's this cut file and so many more amazing ones. You will not be disappointed. Thanks for joining me today, guys. See you next time. Bye.